Hello and welcome to the 7th video of making a WordPress Valentine's Day plugin. As always, if you would like to get the code from the last lesson so you can program along with us, the code is at the bottom in the description. So before we start, let's have a quick look at what we will be making today. Okay, so today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working on this front end widget. So we're going to be working at what will be displayed at the front end. In addition, we're going to be showing how the data that we built in the setting page, how that can be put onto the front end page of the widget. So how can our plugin object setting data be put into the widget object? So that's what we're going to be looking at today. Okay, so our main aim is to make the widget front end. Our 5 tasks today is get the data from our setting data, from the WordPress setting data, make sure that the data is not empty, add the containers, so we're going to put some HTML in our front end widget. I want for the heart container, I want 2 classes to be on that, so you can assign 2 classes to one container, so we're going to be doing that. One for the hearts, because that means regardless of what animation style you choose, the heart CSS will always be the same. And then one for the animation. Now this animation value has to be dynamic, it has to change based on the setting that you choose. And then we're going to use the data attribute in HTML to assign some values so we can use it in our JavaScript. So that is what we're going to be doing today. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is the plugin object. So this will look a little bit different, but that's only because I've reorganized the methods. So I haven't changed anything within the methods. I've just reorganized them so that they are in alphabetical order. So the heart is our plugin object that we've created in the last couple of videos. However, in this video, I would like to focus on the front end widget. So we open up includes and then open up the heart widget. And so this is what we're going to be focusing on. So remember, we don't have a backend method because we don't want anything to be displayed at the back end. We're just going to focusing on creating the front end. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do in our first task is to get our setting data. So we've already done this before. So we use the same WordPress function, which is get option, and as you remember, we have to make sure it links in with that register setting function name. So what we've just done is we've assigned it to this value. So remember, we had 3 fields, so this will be an array and it will have 3 values to it. The second task, now that we've done the first one, is to make sure it's not empty. So we could do 3 if statements here, one for title, one for animation, and one for heart. But another more concise way is using this shorthand way of doing these if statements. So this saying if this is empty or this is not empty, do this, else do this. So this is the else and this is the if, really. So if this is not empty and this is the condition, then do this, else do this. So we've done this 3 times. So we've just basically saying if title is empty, the default will be hearts. If animation is empty, the default will be fading. If heart is empty, the default will be normal. Otherwise, just put in the value that we find in here. Again, remember that you still have to do the correct position in the array. So in the in all the values that the names of our fields, we had title string, animation string, and heart string. So you need to make sure this matches up with that field method in that plugin option that we did. Again, I'll just show you here. If we go down to the field, there you go. That is the name of the value there. That's the position we're putting into it. So you need to make sure that this value matches up with that value. So now we've done task 2. The next task is that we need to add the container for our widget. And I'm going to just do these 3 tasks together. So because we're adding it to the front end, we're not doing anything about getting data from the back end or making sure it's not empty. We're going to try and display stuff. This should go between the before and after widget. So what we need to do is we need to echo out, because we're still in PHP, we're going to echo out this text container. What I've done here is I've just added a text container that I'm going to link up with my CSS. And then, so I've added the container for the main container that'll hold everything. Then I've added the container for our hearts. So that's what I've added. So I've added 2 containers for the widget. Then in the hearts container, I need 2 classes. So one class is going to be for hearts. So this means regardless of whether the animation is rotating or fading or flying, all of the CSS that I will put for hearts, and it will match up to every single one. But then there'll be a second container, and this container will depend on the dynamic setting that you've added. So this, in our CSS, this will provide that animation for each one. And then what I've done here is I've added a data. Now a data attribute lets us add in our own variable for HTML that we can then access. So I'm going to be accessing this data in the jQuery. So what I've done is you've just put data and then the symbol, and then you write the variable name. So I've put number hearts variable, and I've just added my value to that. And then I've added the title in the middle there. So I have added my 2 classes, and I'll need to add CSS to these 2 classes, and I need to add the animation to the classes. And I've created our own data value in the HTML so that I can push this onto jQuery very easily. So I've done my 5 tasks, and that's all I'm going to do for this video. So I think the most important information about this video is these 4 things. So pause the video and see if you can answer them. And if you can, I think you've got all you need to understand what we did. So hopefully you've paused it and you've answered them. Let's have a look. So what does the HTML data attribute allow us to do? Well, it allows us to create our own variable in HTML, and then we can assign data to it. The reason why that's really useful is then we can easily get this variable in jQuery. So this jQuery is a really easy language to get and manipulate the DOM in HTML. So the fact that we can put it in HTML, this value, means it's really easy to work with it in our JavaScript. How can we add 2 classes to one HTML tag? Well, we can do it by just naming those classes in the class tag. So you got class 1 space class 2. The reason why it's useful is if you have maybe multiple aspects or multiple sections that are similar in some natures but different in the other, you can create one class that allows you to group all the similar features into that class, and then you can make another class that contains the differences. So for example, all our animation contains hearts, so the shape of the heart is all similar. We don't want to change that. However, the animation is all different, so we need to change that, and that is why we have two classes. How did we get the setting data from WordPress? Well, we use that get option. Do remember that this name is important. It has to link up. And how did we do a shortened version of an if statement? We used the question mark to do it. So we had we used our condition was it empty? And then so if it's true, then we say this, else we do this. So remember in R1 we had that not in there. So that's why we swapped it around. So in this example, we says if this value is empty, print this, else print that. If we added a, let me see if I can, if we added, so in ours, we added this symbol here, and that meant that it said if this is not empty, then do this, else do that. So that is how to shorten that if statement. So that's all that we have. So thank you very much. Hopefully you are now able to make the widget front end. If you think that we have completed all our tasks, give some feedback. If you have any improvements, let me know. And if you would like to know how we start doing the jQuery, join me to the next video and subscribe so you can be updated with all the latest information about this plugin.